So we happened to stumble into the indie area at the Microsoft booth here at E3, and we caught up with this game, Spectra, that's just mesmerized us, got us sort of a hypnotizing concept. Can you tell us a little bit about where the idea came from for this game?
So when the game started, we met an artist called Chipzel, whose real name is Niamh Houston. She's an 8-bit artist, and she'd made all the music for a game called Super Hexagon. And she just released a new album of really cool music, and I went up to her and said, have you got a game to go with all this music? Because it's really awesome sounding. I'd love to build something to it. She said, no, I haven't. So we said, oh, can we build it for you? And kind of that's how the game started. So we had this kind of weird music-first approach to the game design. And then we built the game around the music. So the idea is you've got a procedural track that you race down that's generated by the sound of the music, and you've got to try and get to the end before the music stops.
It's a very sort of simple concept, but it's one of those concepts that when you start playing it, you can't really drop the controller, because it's just you just get into it. It's like you just move left and right, basically. That's all there is.
We wanted to kind of a bit about our history. We've always worked on kind of big AAA shooter games before, and we wanted to kind of flip that on its head and try and distill a game down to what's the simplest mechanic we can build a game around. And a racing game where you go left and right, you have no control over your speed, and that's about it. It seemed to be about as simple as we could make it, and it was really interesting, the really difficult challenge of trying to get a game that has almost no mechanics to it to be actually be fun and engaging, and I'm really pleased with what we've come up with.
Yeah, and also I found it interesting to listen to you say the game is actually rendered in 8K, and then sort of to create this sort of retro effect on it, you sort of squeeze it back down.
Yeah, so we had this really interesting situation where we've got a game that's kind of very retro, takes up very little footprint in the console, and we had this kind of really powerful console available, thinking, what can we do with all that? So we thought, we'll render the game at massive resolution and then squash it all back down, so everything's kind of super crisp, super clean looking, and it's kind of like playing a vector graphic. And so that was kind of a really nice look that we found really worked with the style of the game, and we really like it.
So what's the reactions been like here at E3? You've always got a lot of people coming around playing the game. It must be interesting for you as a developer to see that, even though you trade with friends and focus groups and so on and so forth, but there's a different vibe to it at E3.
Yeah, I mean, another interesting story about this game is it was built around expos. We built this in a game jam. We took that game jam result to an expo. We had feedback. Then we built more and took it to another expo. And to kind of bring it to kind of its height of close release, bring it to E3 and get feedback here. It's been really great. And the problem we've really had is getting people to stop playing it so we can get somebody else to play it. It's been really good. I mean, it's been really well received, which is cool.
It's a short enough demo, but people want to try it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're working on Xbox One, obviously here. We talked a little bit about it. It's one of those games that could lend itself to motion controls if you wanted to do it. Is that something you're looking at?
Yeah, so the new Kinect's actually a really nice device, and we've been experimenting sort of internally and trying to figure out how we can build it more into our games. And obviously we've got the new packages available with the Xbox One now where Kinect's not going to be bundled, so we're always going to be thinking about how can we support it but make it not a necessity. But yeah, I think actually for future versions of the game to try and get some form of motion control would be really nice, and something that we definitely look to support.
Because I mean, it's just about moving left and right, and you can sort of Kinect can engage that and sort of also do it like very subtle movements, and if you can get that one-to-one, that would be a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, the precision's actually awesome, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what we come up with actually.
You also mentioned what a different it was when you moved on from the 360 controller to the Xbox One controller in terms of the precision and what it brings to this kind of, let's say, scaled down, clean cut gaming where it's so evident what's good and bad about a controller when you play a game like this.
Well, I mean, you look back, you think about arcade sticks and the games involved, those were all about quick reactions, quick precision. People love playing games on arcade sticks because they feel precise, they feel really tight, and I think that's something that the new controller definitely has over the old one. And actually just generally kind of analog input in this generation is so much better than the last one. I mean, you think about the 360 controller, almost kind of 50% of the motion range of the joystick was useless and wasn't used by your games, and now you've got almost 90% of it's much better. And actually it really helps the game feel really tight and really smooth, and kind of helps the experience along.
So, what's the roadmap ahead for Spectra?
So Spectra is already out on the Windows Store at the moment, and we're looking to bring it onto Xbox One next, of course. And then we're looking also to have it available on mobile devices such as the iPhone and Android. And we've got a really cool thing where if you have it on your multiple devices, you can cross-play between them, even if they're not platforms by the same platform holder. So you can play on your iPhone and your Xbox and your Windows Phone at the same time, that kind of thing.
Nice. All right. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.